my name is Nessa with Friends of Ballona Wetlands. I'm the manager of scientific programs, and the video that we're going to be shooting today is a part of our Grow Native program. So it's really important to include native plants, California native plants, in your backyard or on your balcony if you don't, or patio if you don't have a backyard to fill with natives. Native plants are really important to supporting our ecosystem. They feed and house wildlife, they cut our carbon footprint, and they save water. So I really encourage everybody to get into growing native. So today we're going to learn how to plant native plants in pots for patios and balconies. You can visit our website at ballonafriends.org/grow-native. The information on there will include a list of nurseries, how-to guides and videos, and all kinds of additional help for you. So today we're going to plant a native plant. Specifically, we're going to plant a yarrow. Yarrows are very easy to grow, and they're adaptable to different kinds of sunlight. And when you're planting in a pot, you need to make sure that the plant can survive in a pot. Lots of native plants do perfectly fine in pots, but some don't. So you want to make sure before you plant it that you've looked at our list of container-friendly plants to add to your potted garden. So yarrow is what we're going to go with today. And after we've picked our plant, we need to pick a pot. So that's going to be the home for the plant. We really recommend that you use either plastic, resin, or glazed ceramic pots because they conserve water. They keep more moisture in the soil, so you don't have to water as frequently. If you use unglazed ceramic, you're going to be watering constantly because the water evaporates from the pot very easily. So we don't recommend unglazed ceramic. Go with glazed ceramic or plastic or resin pots. Okay, so the next step would be to pick the right size and also the right color. So if your plant is going to be out in the sunlight, you want to make sure you choose a lighter color so that it doesn't bake in the sun, overheat, and kill the roots. If your plant is going to be in the shade or part sun, you can go with a darker pot. That would be fine. This plant is adaptable, so depending on if you're on the coast, you would want full sun. Inland, you could probably get away with shade all the way through full sun if it's not too hot where you are. So you want to research, make sure you have the right sun for your plant, and then the pot. You want to make sure that you're not squeezing your plant into a tiny little pot. So we've got enough space in this pot to grow for a good amount of time, and eventually, because this plant grows to be 2 to 3 feet wide, we might want to increase the size of the pot at a future date once it's really filled out its pot. So we're not going to choose too big of a pot to start, because then we have a tiny little plant in a big pot, and you want to increase as you go so that it looks really nice. So the next step is to make sure that your pot is ready. So I've drilled some holes in the bottom of this pot. We want to make sure that we have really good drainage. Native plants don't like to sit in a lot of water, so we want to use have holes in our pot. We also want to use a fast draining cactus mix, cactus or palm mix. Go with organic and not Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro has a lot of excessive nutrients added to the soil that native plants do not like. Native plants are used to living in our California native soil that has lower nutrients. So don't add any fertilizer when you're planting your plant, and avoid soils that have amendments in them already. We've got our plant, we've got our soil, we've got our pot, but before we put in the soil, we're actually going to add some rocks on the bottom. And that just prevents the soil from going out the holes so that you don't end up with a bunch of dirt all over your beautiful patio. So the first step, we're going to add some rocks. You don't need a big layer of rocks, just enough to cover the holes. I'm going to push those back. Alright, so we've got our layer of rocks, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill the pot up to where we would We're going to fill the soil so that the plant, when we put it in, has about an inch of space from the top, because we're also going to put mulch on top, so we don't want to put it all the way up to the lip of the pot. When you water, the water would just spray right out, right? So we're going to add a few inches of soil here. As we're filling, we're going to tamp it down as we go. We don't want to have a bunch of air pockets. Let's see. Okay, so when you put it in, it should sit about an inch below the lip of the pot. We'll take out our little plant tag there. And then removing the plant from the pot. You want to give it a gentle squeeze around the base to kind of loosen it up if the roots are stuck on the corners there. Hold the base without squishing any of the leaves so that when it slides out, it doesn't fall. Lift the pot right off of there. Easy peasy. Flip it back over. Give it a little bit of a root massage. So the roots don't circle around, they grow out into your soil. And set it down in there. Double check to see if it's lining up a little. If you need to add a little more soil, you would do that now. And then we're going to fill in around the edge. We're going to tamp down as we go, remember? So I filled the soil up until the plant is about 1/4 of an inch above the rest of the soil. So it doesn't go all the way up to the top, so we don't want to drown the plant in too much soil. So you can see there that it's just a little bit above the rest of the soil. And then we're going to add mulch. You want to use a nice, fluffy, not chunky mulch that's made from either cedar or redwood. This is going to add nutrients to the plant. It's also going to keep the soil nice and moist so that we don't have to water every single day. And it's going to add lots of beneficial properties. We might have little insects or microbes that are able to live in here and cohabitate with the plant. So we're going to add that around the pot. Make sure not to dump it on top of the leaves of our yarrow. All right, and there is our potted yarrow. So you're going to want to give it a nice watering after it's been potted. Even if the soil's moist, you want to give it a nice good soak, and that means you want to see water come out the holes in the bottom of the pot. That's really important because you want to make sure you got the water all the way down to the base of where the roots are going to be growing. And going forward, you're going to water this probably twice a week. But if it gets a lot of sun, you'll need to monitor it. Maybe you'll have to water it 3 times a week. Or if it gets rain, you may not need to water it as much. So just spend a little time paying attention to how the soil dries out. If you're not sure, you do the little easy test of just stick your finger in the soil, get down there 2 to 3 inches. If it's starting to get warm and dry, you definitely need to water it. So you'll get the hang of that right away. So just spend some time getting to know your plant and watch it grow. Maybe once a year you'll want to add a little bit of diluted, balanced fertilizer, or you'll just, in order to add nutrients back into the soil, because it's going to be living in the soil for a long period of time. It's not going to be in the ground where it would normally get new nutrients throughout its life cycle. So adding additional mulch as it starts to decay and adding a little bit of diluted fertilizer once a year will help with that problem. So this plant is the island pink version of yarrow. So it's going to grow beautiful pink flowers that form little butterfly landing pads that you'll be able to enjoy on your balcony. So you'll have wildlife coming and visiting you. So don't forget to go to our website if you want to get any more information, ballonafriends.org/grownative. And thank you so much for watching this video.